Hello, I'm Jared Taylor with American Renaissance. Last week, Huffington Post South Africa published an edifying article called "Could It Be Time to Deny White Men the Franchise?" The author, Shelley Garland, answered her own question with a resounding yes. Take the vote away from the white man, and not just in South Africa, but everywhere. The reason, of course, is that white men are responsible for all the great evils of history, and she listed them for us: colonialism, slavery, war, genocides. The plan is that once we have lost the vote, women and non-whites will pass laws for what Miss Garland calls a redistribution of global assets to their rightful owners. White men are not rightful owners because, as she explains, quote, most of their assets, wealth, and privilege are the result of theft and violence. In other words, what we have, we stole, and we should give it back. People actually believe this stuff. So let's think about how that theft and violence would work. White men do tend to live in peaceful, low-crime places like this, or even in high-toned places like this. Well, how did white people get this place through theft and violence? Was it built by Indians and white men stole it from them? And it's true that there are white men who drive fancy cars like this BMW. Did the white guy get it through theft and violence? Was that BMW actually built by Bolivian women and the white guy stole it from them? And we have power generators, we have huge oil tankers, all stolen from somebody somewhere, I suppose. Okay, maybe our theft and violence aren't quite that direct. One theory is that black slave labor, for example, is what made America great. If anything, slavery held back economic development. If slavery was so dynamic and productive, why was the South the poorest part of the country generation after generation? Now, it's certainly true that slaves helped white laborers and craftsmen build the White House. Does that mean the White House couldn't have been built without them? Of course not. White people built this building 1,000 years ago with no help from anyone else. And they built this one more than 2,000 years ago. And I don't think white people stole either of them from anyone. White people made plenty of nice places to live all by themselves. No theft, no slavery, no empire, no colonization, just brains and hard work. Think of Sweden, Canada, New Zealand, Hungary, Italy. Well, unfortunately, you can't read the original article because Huffington Post has taken it down, but not because it was crazy or anti-white. Here's their explanation, and I quote, "We have done this because the blog submission from an individual who called herself Shelley Garland, who claimed to be an MA student at UCT, that's University of Cape Town, cannot be traced and appears not to exist." It turns out the article was written as a deliberate hoax, and HuffPo fell for it. I wish I'd written it. But the real story here is not that the story was fake. The real story is that a lot of people, including a certain number of miserable white people, believe this foolishness. The editor of HuffPo South Africa, Virshani Pillay, defended the article as, quote, pretty standard for feminist theory. And, of course, dispossession flows perfectly logically from believing in unearned white privilege. Once you accept the idea that white people, and especially white men, have stuff they don't deserve, where does it end? It ends with the idea that the wealth and power of the West, of the white man, are all stolen goods. Of course, that wealth came from the Industrial Revolution, from science and mathematics, from discoveries and achievements that virtually without exception sprang from the minds of white men. We have enriched the entire planet. Naturally, the people who have achieved the least, who have most benefited from us, are the ones who most resent us. But it's good to know where we stand. And it's good to know that lefties recognize the reality of race. When it suits them, when it comes to moving into our countries and displacing us, race is to them just a social construct. But when it comes to white privilege, or punishing people for it, You won't get out of it by saying, who, me? There's no such thing as race. When it suits them, race is solidly biological. So it's good to know what others have in mind for us. What we do not defend, they will take. So thank you, Huffington Post, for an article, fake or not, that spells it out so clearly. And thank you for watching. And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and visit us at amran.com.